Patsy. Hello, it's lovely to see you and thank you for joining us today. I've got a few questions for you. The first one, how do I communicate with Annie? I've tried talking to her, but she just won't respond to me.
Well, one of the things that we have to remember in dementia is that communication loss is one of the symptoms. Now, we all have different communication channels that we use every day. We're probably using all of them right now. Visually, we're looking, we're seeing facial expressions, gestures. I could hold up an object and show it to you and you'd know what it is. So we have what we call non-verbal, which is basically a visual type of communication. Then we have verbal, which is I'm hearing you and comprehending what you're saying, and I'm understanding your words, and I'm then going to answer you back with words. So that's our verbal communication. And then we also have something called rhythmic communication, which is not only all of our music and our poetry and our prayers and all of that, but it's also the tone of our voice. I can tell in any language whether someone is upset or someone is very angry or someone is wanting to be kind to me or maybe being sarcastic to me. I will be able to tell by the tone in their voice, coupled with the visual, what is their face doing. So human beings communicate using these three channels. Now, in dementia, one of those channels may have gone because dementia causes damage to the brain. And the part where a particular communication channel is may be damaged. So if I'm trying to explain to Annie what you need to do with her and she's not wanting to do it with you, you may not be using the right communication channel. And so is it words with her? Is she giving you a lot of words back? When she talks to you, does she use the correct sentence structure? If not, her words aren't there. So always remember what's coming out of their mouth verbally is what is also going in. So if I can't say words to you or a sentence to you, they can't understand words or a sentence back. So you may be using a verbal communication where you need to switch it over to a visual. So depending on what you want to either show an object that would convey what you wanted to do, a towel, a bar of soap, or whatever it is. It could be that you do a gesture, like you want to eat and rub your tummy. And I want to make sure my tone is inviting, because they're going to be really more in tune now with the tone of people's voice versus what they say. So I want to make sure it's, hello, how are you today? I want to be up, take it up a few notches than what you normally would do, because they'll be responding to that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, next question.
Okay, thank you. So B keeps asking for a mother. What do I say without causing her distress? I don't want to upset her.
It's very hard not to want our loved ones or our residents or the people we're caring for, our clients, to react in a normal way that they've always reacted, and they're not going to be able to do that with dementia on board. And so there has to be some leeway from you in where you're going, and you don't necessarily want to, in a way, lead with a command or lead with a thing that you want them to do or you want them to answer. You want to go in there and lead with something that is a hug, or it's a smile, or maybe you go in singing and say, remember this, and then you can both have a little song. You want to make sure the connection between you is there before you actually try and deal with whatever it is that you're really wanting to deal with. So whether that's an answer, whether that's something you want them to do, because we want to make sure that we've connected first. We don't go right in with what we want, because that's not going to work in dementia. We go in, we connect, we feel them out, and then we leave them where they need to go. So hopefully that answers that question.
So if somebody, if she says to me, if B says to me, I want my mummy, where is she? Do you tell her that she's in the room next door? Do you
Well,
tell her?
yeah, number one, I've just been talking to her. I was just talking to her. She's going to be back later. But while we're waiting, do you want a cup of tea, maybe a biscuit? You want to lead her back with something that's enjoyable, that you and her are going to do together, because this is about literally making a connection and then leading them away from the problem.
Right.
And then if she says it again, you just say, well, it's still not time, she's probably at the shops or whatever. If you know a lot about the person, you'll be able to answer it in a way that they'll believe.
Yeah.
So making sure we know enough about them that when they ask where their baby is or they ask where their mum is, I can actually give them quite a good answer that they would believe. Yeah, my mum would be at the shops. Yes, my baby would be with my sister. So that's person-centered care in action.
Brilliant.
Okay?
Yep. Okay. I was asked recently to support Mr. Jones with his personal care. When I approached him, he became very agitated and told me to go away. What should I do?
Well, number one, you didn't make the connection. And you know, when we get assigned our jobs and we have to go in and do them, we go in almost like a nurse going into a patient and come on, let's get you ready, let's get you sorted, let's get you dressed, washed, changed, toileted. But people with dementia won't respond to that. And you've got to remember that you're usually looking after them either in their own home or a care home, which is their own home. So we don't want to lead, like I said before, with tasks, with orders, with things that we want them to do. We want to go in and establish that connection. And if I know enough about that gentleman, I can go in and talk about, you know, I saw a car on the road today. I was thinking about you. Didn't you have one of those old Vauxhalls? Wherever he's into, I could make something up that the reason I'm coming in isn't because I'm going to do something with you, because that makes him feel helpless. It makes him realize I can't do things anymore, and he's more likely to reject you. Whereas if I go in because I've got something to tell him, I've got something to show him, you know, if it's a lady, I'd go in, if she was a knitter or a crocheter, I'd always have a knitting pattern or something. Can I just ask you about this knitting pattern? Because I know you'll know the answer. We want to big them up so that they feel almost like they're the one with the power. We've come to them to ask something of them. And then we do the thing of, you know, while I'm here, do you want to go to the toilet? Do you want to get ready while I'm here? We've got time. That's what, so always lead with the social and bring the task in behind that. Because without connection, they won't just do what you want to do task-wise.
So once the patient's agitated, so I've gone in, they're agitated, what should I do? Should I just come out and leave?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, listen, right now, not the time. I've got other things I need to do. I'll come back and have a chat with you later. We want to make sure that we back off, because if we don't, they feel cornered. And what will happen is they'll go into flight or fight. And if they can't physically get away from us and we're not leaving them, then the only option we've left them is to hit us, is to, you know, be nasty to us verbally, because we left them no other option.
Yeah.
Don't let that happen. Always give them a way out. I'm going now. I'll come back later and check on you. I'll bring you something, whatever you know they like. I'll come back and then we'll see then. We're not going to force, we back off. I mean, unless it's you know, they're lying on the floor bleeding or they're trying to get out of a window, I'm not going to intervene if I don't have to. Once I see they don't want it, we're the ones that back off. Okay?
Yep. Recently, I noticed Miss O'Neill's needed her incontinence pad changing. I was concerned she might get sore. I asked her if I could support her, but she refused. How can I encourage her to come with me so I can provide the support she needs?
Well, again, you know, really all of it, when we're talking about all of this, it's all basic care where establishment of contact and bonding isn't happening. Because I can't go to someone and say, you know, I need to change your pads. You're going to get sore because you're wet. So let's get you changed. Nobody wants to be told that they're wet or they need a pad changing, especially not if I don't really know you very well or I can't remember you from one shift to the other. Then a stranger coming in and telling me that is quite invasive, and I'm going to react to that in a negative way. I'm going to be, there's nothing wrong with me. I'm fine. I don't need nothing changing. No, go do someone else. I'm going to shoo you away because in a way you've insulted me. I feel degraded that you know that about me. So again, we can't lead with that. We've got to go in. We've got to have something we've got to tell them about, or even show them. I've just seen a beautiful bird. I think it's a kind of a bluebird outside the window in the hallway. Come and have a look. If you know that they love nature, wildlife. And then when they're there, you can go, you know, while we're up, should we just pop the loo? I need to go. Let's go in and get it over with. And I go, you go first. I'll stand here and watch the door. By then we can go, do you need any help? And then I can go back in and then start changing the pad. It's how we do it. And they're just reacting with a broken brain to things that we're throwing at them when they're just sitting in a chair somewhere and someone says, you're dirty, you need to change your pad. Well, think about how you'd feel if someone you didn't really know very well came up and just said that to you.
Yeah.
It's an insult, really.
Yeah.
So definitely change our approach.
Okay.
Okay.
Also, recently, one of our residents, Eileen, accused me of stealing her handbag. I tried to explain that I hadn't, but she kept saying that I had. Actually, I felt a bit insulted. I felt a bit like she was accusing me. Because on reflection, I should have handled it a bit differently. But what would you do if someone said that to you? How would you respond?
Well, in the first stage of dementia, when we get someone in who is an early stage or mild stage of dementia, oftentimes they're in denial with the fact that they can't remember things. And if they lose things, their glasses, their teeth, their handbag, the usual culprits that they lose, they've probably hidden them. They've probably hidden them or put them away for safekeeping and can't remember where they put them. The problem is they're in denial that they're losing their memory. So what they tend to do is accuse other people of taking them. So that's quite a common thing that happens daily in dementia care. And it could be anything. It doesn't matter. It could be money. It could be a belonging, photographs, anything like that, where they have actually put it away for safekeeping, can't remember. So what you want to do is you never say you didn't do it. Because the minute you say, I didn't do that, they think you're guilty. Because if you're guilty, you'll deny it. So you're not going to go down that road. We're not going to take that avenue. We're going to take a different avenue. And so what you do is you go, your glasses, your money, whatever it was. I think I know where that was. I think I saw that in your room. I think I know where it, come on, let me go, let's go and have a look. And then you just pray that you're going to find it. Because you and them now are going to look for it. But you're not going to say, I didn't do it. You're going to look and go, I think I know where that is. And then go look with them. And then if you can't find it, you know, it is somewhere here. Should we have a cup of tea? And then we'll look again. Because I know I've seen it in this room somewhere. You can start buying time then.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Don't take it personal either.
Don't take it personally. Okay, recently, Mr. Williams, I asked him if he'd like to come for lunch. So he came and he sat down for a second, then he got up again and walked away. And this kept happening. How can I encourage him to stay at the table to eat lunch? Okay, we don't need to encourage him to stay at the table to eat lunch. People in mid-stage dementia are wanderers, and it takes an awful lot to get them to sit for more than 5 minutes. So any expectation of them all sitting down to lunch is coming from probably charge staff or
people who are in a supervisory position who really don't understand that in dementia, that isn't ever going to happen in mid-stage. They will in the early stage. They all like to sit around a table and have a gossip. In the late stage, they'll probably be getting fed, and so they've been brought to the table. However, in the mid-stage, they've got no attention span. So they will sit down, they'll eat a little bit of the first thing that's on the plate, and then they'll go out and wander. So when we're looking after people in mid-stage dementia, we want to make sure that they have a lot of finger foods. So as they're walking up and down the hallway, you can go, here's a banana, here's, you know, whatever you know they like, here's a biscuit, or even, you know, a lot of elderly, they will eat a celery stick, they'll eat a carrot stick, they'll eat good things for them, or just tiny few grapes. We want to always have fridges stocked with finger foods, because that's really how they get their calories. Now, the National Dietetics Association, which kind of looks after the whole of Great Britain with all the dietitians and what they recommend, if we look at what they say about this stage, is you have an amount of calories that you know that person needs on a daily basis. So let's say it's 1,800 calories. As long as I get those 1,800 calories into that body in a 24-hour period, I've done my job. I've done what I need to do. So we've got to relax on the idea of 3 meals a day. And also remember that some people don't eat 3 meals a day. They don't sit down in a dining room 3 times a day. I mean, lunch for me is usually on the go, and it's grabbing things where I can find if I'm driving or whatever. If I'm home, I usually have breakfast with cereal and some toast. And really, I'm not hungry again till about 4 o'clock, and then I have a cup of tea and a biscuit. So depending on, again, the person's natural way of eating, and that, you know, my husband eats everything after 6 o'clock at night, will not eat breakfast, will not eat lunch, only eats after 6 o'clock at night. And he gets all his calories in the nighttime. You have to practice person-centered care. It's a mandate, not institutionalized. We're now feeding everyone lunch, so everyone has to sit down to lunch. That's institutionalized care, and we're not allowed to do that anymore. It's person-centered. So for each person, maybe even this gentleman, that may not be the time that he naturally eats. So we need to look into his own biorhythms around food, chart them. We all know about them. Let's feed him when he's hungry. Okay?
Bit of a sensitive one here. Gladys and Harry have become very, very friendly with each other. They kiss and touch each other. Is this inappropriate? Should I stop them?
Not at all. On both counts, it's not inappropriate, and you shouldn't stop them. One of the first things we're going to do is see whether it's consensual. If both of them are happy and showing you happiness when they're together, they're holding hands, they're touching, maybe doing kind of little grooming things where they're touching each other's hair or pulling someone's cardigan down. If they're looking at each other a lot and giving eye contact to one another, you know, quite a bit. If you notice that if they're separated, they're looking for one another, they don't have to verbalize, because some of them, remember, can't verbalize. They don't have to verbalize, I want to be with that person, because we've got other communication channels. And if they're clearly showing us that they want to be together, the two of them, definitely, there's no kind of problem here where one doesn't want to be with them. If they both want to be together, then they're allowed to be together. People can make new relationships. Even if they're married, they can make new relationships in the care home. Now, granted, it's going to take a lot of work with the family's understanding and all of that, and documentation that we've proven that they want to be together. But at the end of the day, they have the right to do that. And so as long as we can see consent, and you will all know, being around them, whether they're consenting or not, then that is okay to allow them to establish a relationship. I've even had times where I've recommended that we put the two people in the same room, because that one is always trying to get into the other's bedroom and lie down and cuddle on the bed. So let's put them both in the same room. It will cut down on falls, it will cut down on staff time. They clearly want to be together. Now, if the other one, you know, isn't wanting to have anything to do with the person, then no, we do have to then separate, and we need to look, how can I meet the other person's needs? Maybe there's someone else that would like to sit with them and hold their hand. We could maybe introduce them to someone else, but I can't enforce myself on anybody else, and nobody can. However, if someone wants to be with me, then we've both got that right. It's a human right. It's under the Human Rights Act. So you can't split them up. So you want to, as a team, decide, have a look, plan, know that they want to be together. If they do, you leave them alone.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, another one. So Mr. Potter's always standing by the front door. He wants to go outside for a walk. I've told him he can't go outside because he might get lost or injured. He becomes agitated. How can I promote his rights while protecting him from harm?
One of the issues in dementia is we're not very rational. We don't think rationally or logically anymore. That's kind of gone. And we're thinking emotionally. And I look out that window and emotionally I think I want to be outside. And I might know that really I'm not able to, or I might not know that. I might think I can go outside, but it's not unusual for a person to want to be outside and have a walk every day. I mean, currently we're in lockdown for the virus. And one of the things the government made sure we all got was one walk a day, because that's what we need to keep healthy. If I'm in a care home and can walk and want to go outside, then someone should be taking me outside at least once a day for exercise. And there is no excuse why we're not doing that. So if he isn't getting outside, the problem will be that will become a bigger issue every day. He's told no. And I would sooner have one staff go and walk with him for 25 minutes or even half an hour than have him start to have aggressive behaviors because he feels trapped. And then I've got 3 or 4 staff having to calm him down, and it's interfering with everybody else in the care home. So I think when we look at, you know, we often say I don't have time to take them. I don't think you have time not to take them. I think you invest in a carer that they love and like, taking them on that walk, because it's going to save you double that amount of time that you would have dealt with a behavior that was escalating, and probably 5 staff would have had to have been involved. So look at it economically. I'd sooner have a designated time when he goes out than, and he may constantly go back to the door and ask for it again, but at least what you will see over a period of time is he won't be as desperate if he's getting outdoors every single day.
Okay, thank you.
So worth a try.
Right, lovely. Recently I was assisting Joyce with dressing. I was aware that she had the right to make her own choices, but it was inappropriate for the time of year. She would have been very, very cold, and I was concerned. How can I encourage her to make the right choice?
I think we have to let them choose what they want to wear. I think, you know, that's an important part of being an individual. A lot of their rights have been taken away because of mental capacity. A lot of their daily living choices have been taken over for them because they can no longer do that. So at every single point where they can make choices, I think they should be. Now, one of the things that I usually do, or I used to do when I worked in care homes, I would let them wear whatever they wanted as long as they were inside. And if we were going outside, I'd say to them, you know, we need to wrap you up really warm because it's freezing out there. I've just come in. But most care homes are very warm, and even people's homes are very warm, because as we get elderly, our natural thermometer inside isn't working well and we feel colder than normal. So we tend to keep ourselves warmer as we get older. So most care homes and most homes that people live in when they're elderly are quite warm. And so they could put on things that we might consider that's not appropriate for today. They need something warmer. But just to make sure that there are throws around, there are cardigans available, there are scarves available, things that if it proves that they are cold, we can put them on. But I think, again, telling them, I think that's inappropriate, and we don't want to go down that road if we can help it. I want to add clothes to what they've got on. Let them choose the outfit and then add to it. Because they will tell you, you know, they walk down the corridor and suddenly they're saying to you, oh, I'm a bit cold. Well, then, okay, let's put your cardigan on. But we're not taking that choice away from them. Yeah. Occasionally they will wear inappropriate clothing. You know, they'll put their top on upside down or back to front. Or I saw a lady one time that had a hoodie and she had it on her legs. She put her legs in the arms of the hoodie. And obviously we don't want them looking ridiculous by having their clothes on completely wrong. And what we would do there is we would just kind of make out that, you know, something's wrong with, you know what, I think those trousers have a big hole in them. Let's get you a different pair and I'll sew them up for you. It has to be a reason that is adult and appropriate to why I'm taking that clothing off them. I'm not going to say, you've got a hoodie on instead of your trousers. I'm going to say those trousers, because clearly that's what they think it is, has got a hole in. Let's get them off and I'll fix them for you. Let's put another pair on for right now. We want to be creative with how we then change them so that they don't feel a fool. Okay?
Finally, Ken, he was looking as if he was in pain. I asked him if he was in pain and he said no. I asked him if I could call the doctor and he said no, it was fine. Should I respect his right or should I use my instincts and call the doctor?
Okay, well, first of all, we need to monitor what's going on with him. So we would want to be doing, there's something called the Abbey pain scale. And the Abbey pain scale is a visual pain scale. We look at someone and we tick off boxes whether they're doing certain things. So we're not relying on them telling us, you know, if I go into hospital, they'll use a pain scale on me and they'll say, from 1 to 10, how bad's your pain? And I can answer them with that. But people with dementia can't necessarily do that. So we have this other pain scale that we use for people who are non-verbal or can't really communicate well. And it's watching them. Are they holding an area? Because when you're in pain, you reach for the area that you're having the pain in. So are they doing that? Are they doing what we call clutching and holding? Are they shying away and protecting that area if you come near them? Are they doing a rubbing, a gentle patting, or a nursing of that area where they're slightly rocking with it? All of those signs that they're doing, which are non-verbal, if I was adding them up, I might be able to say they're probably in about a 7 level of pain because they're doing all of this behavior. Are they crying out? Are they wincing? Ooh, are they? And that's what we need to be watching, and we need to be documenting it. I don't just want to go to a doctor and say, I think they're in pain. I want to prove it. So I want to have something that is tried and trusted that we can fax over or email over to the physician and say, this is what we're seeing with pain levels. We need something stronger to help them. You know, also things like they're not eating anything cold anymore. And whenever I put a cold dessert on, they love them, but they're not eating them anymore. Maybe I need to look for tooth decay. Maybe they're not talking as much as they normally can. Could it be a sore throat? We've got to be ultra observant in dementia because they're not going to be able to tell us most times. Are they in a really bad mood? And they never usually are. That could be that they're in pain and they're trying to keep it in, and so then they're angry at everybody, but it's really coming from the pain. So observation, collaboration with staff, other staff, and then presenting it to the doctor with good, firm criteria of what we've observed, that we can say these are our signs that we've seen, that we think they're in pain. But they will, you know, often reject medication. And again, that's another one. Never lead with, here's your medication. Always go over, how was your night? Did you do all right? Oh, your hands are cold. Wow. Well, I'm just going to give you this. This is your 𝗵𝗔 pills. We don't lead with, here's your meds, because that's just not what we do. So when I'm giving them pain meds, we don't do that. We go over, and then you might want to say, well, I've asked Dr. Jones, and he said, would you try this? Just see if it works. Sometimes they'll do favors for the doctor more than they will us. Quite impressed by doctors, the elderly. And so if you use the doctor, sometimes they'll go, oh, well, I'll try that. But make sure you're documenting it, you're discussing it as a staff team, and then when you present it to the doctor, you've got backup as to why you think that, because it can't just be you thinking it, it's got to be some evidence of it. And then when we finally get the medication, to do that in a very social manner as well. Okay?
Yes. Thank you very much, Patsy. That's been absolutely wonderful. Thank you for your help.
No problem. Thank you. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Record.
Okay.